Good morning. Today I will be playing the tenor drums, the essential tenor drums. Because yes, all 40 of the essential rudiments can be played on the tenor drums. However, there are some common licks and tricks specific to the tenor drums that are not on the 40 essential rudiment list. So I took it upon myself to make my own list of the essential hybrid tenor drum rudiments. Okay, I like a skank as much as the next guy, but I don't know why this is on the rudiment list. Yes, it is specific to tenors, but this is more of an effect, and I don't think it should need to be practiced. Who made this list anyways? This gets an F tier. These lethal injections are basically an introduction into crossovers. This is an incredibly common pattern, used all the time, and looks super cool. Lethal injections approved, all the way up to S tier. So these are basically the same things as lethal injections, but you go over 2 drums, which is why they're a double dose of lethal injection. Oh man. And these look pretty cool as long as you don't hit your sticks together and die. So these will get a B tier. Another excellent introduction into crossovers. This is a very natural pattern to write and it looks pretty flashy. It gets an A tier. Once again, this is basically the same thing as the last one, except you're going over more than 1 drum, which makes it kind of harder and cooler looking. Ooh, look how much cooler it looks. This one will also get A tier. Before we move on to the next rudiment, I would like you all to know that I am currently the 4th most subscribed EMC channel, and when I become number 1, I will make a very special video. So make sure that you click that subscribe button. And if this video gets 1,000 likes, I will also create a poster of all of these essential hybrid tenor rudiments. So make sure that you click that like button. This is one of a few rudiments in here that looks really hard, but is actually not that hard. And this is something you don't really see that much because people don't think to write a cross under. As you can see, the hand just slides under. It slides in there, politely. These feel really good to play and look incredibly cool, so it gets an S tier. Alright, the extended crossover. This is another one that looks a whole heck of a lot harder than it actually is. This is something I definitely recommend writing into your show music, no matter what level your tenor line is at, okay? They can probably play this. A tier. Okay, the super extended crossover. If you're running out of ideas for creative parts, then I guess you could put one of these in. This is another thing that looks a whole heck of a lot harder than it actually is, although I would probably not write this because it's a lot of the same thing over and over. So, this will get a C. Time bombs, appropriately named because you are going to hit a lot of rim ticks practicing this. I promise you. Go ahead and do it. You're gonna hit the rims. I think this is a good one to practice, not in front of other people, just on your own, far, far away, so that nobody sees you ticking and screwing up. I don't think I would ever write this into a show, definitely not extended for a long time like I'm doing here. So for that, it gets a C. So these next bunch of rudiments are sweep patterns, which are basically a double stroke roll, but your one note is on one drum and the second one is on a different one. And these are absolutely necessary in developing your skills as a tenor drummer. Starting with the basics, just the standard outward sweep, this one is fantastic, I write it all the time, definite S tier rudiment. And now we got the inward sweeps. As you can see, they go inward. Ooh, very creative. Yeah, these sweep patterns, they're gonna get kind of repetitive, but each one of these is a totally different set of challenges and technique that you need to work on. So inward sweep, another definite S tier tenor hybrid rudiment. So you got good at the outwards and you got good at the inwards. Well, the in and out is totally different. Yeah, changing direction in the sweep pattern, that's no joke, alright? You're probably gonna hit a lot of rims trying to figure this one out. Nonetheless, another very essential S tier rudiment. Ah yes, here we go, introducing the crossovers into the sweep patterns. Now we're chopping out here, people, we're getting into it. And also, I just love the name of this, the doily, because it sounds like that. Like doily, 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 doily. Definitely a solid A tier rudiment. Okay, now we're really getting into the chop stuff here, the helicopter sweep around. This one is a very physical rudiment, as in you're gonna need to put some energy into getting these arounds. Though this one in particular, I don't really write that much because it is quite difficult and there's a lot of other sweep patterns that look just as cool and are a lot easier to play. This one gets a B. Unlike its neighbor, the outward helicopter, the inward helicopters are actually very comfortable to play. I write these all the time and they look very flashy and cool. A tier rudiment. Similar to the outward helicopters, the regular outward figure eights are also a very physical and demanding rudiment. By the way, it's called figure eight because you're literally making a figure eight pattern with your stick. Just look, see, you're making an 8. It's math. And since I don't really write this one that much, it will only get B tier. Just like the helicopters, the inward figure eight is a whole heck of a lot easier than the outward figure eight, and it looks just as cool, but it's easier to play for some reason. So, A tier. This sweep pattern is gonna fake you out. You're gonna think you're playing puttertas, which is just right, left sticking, but you're actually doing this really hard thing. So the way I'm playing it is only possible if you have the drums on a stand. If you're wearing them on a harness, you can just put the Spock drum notes on drum number 1. It doesn't sound as cool, but it looks the same. This one gets C tier. This is another fake out sweep pattern. You're gonna think you're playing paradiddle diddles, because that's like the stock around if you're playing the paradiddle diddle rudiment. But you're not, you're playing sweeps. Ooh. Honestly, I kinda don't like this one that much. It's a little bit awkward to play, but it does look kinda cool and kinda weird. So for that, it will also get C tier. This one is called the French sweep because you have to pretty much hold the French grip the whole time, as in your hands are turned all the way over in order for the stick to not hit the other stick. This is probably the most advanced and ridiculous sweep pattern out of all of them, but it looks really, really cool. I'll give this one a B. Ah yes, the triple cross. Not only do you have to have a really good triple stroke roll and sweep it across the drums, you also gotta do a crossover and get your stick around the other stick. Very demanding and technical stuff here. I don't really write this one that much because it's a little bit awkward, especially at the faster tempo, but it is still pretty darn cool. So it's gonna get right in the middle of C tier. So yes, the quadruple cross obviously has one more note than the triple cross, but because it has an extra note, there is extra time to get the stick around the other stick, which makes it quite a bit easier, and it looks kind of cooler and sounds a little bit cooler, I think. So this one will get the middle of B tier. This This one is kind of an old school Rudiment, and I've seen this a few times, and every time I see this, I think there's a mistake in the drums, but there isn't, alright? This is not super awkward to get this around, it's just a little bit awkward. I hardly ever write these because I can think of way cooler arounds for this sticking, but it is the same rhythm as a Herta, which will keep it out of F tier. The Swiss cross drag is a very cool looking rudiment. It is a little bit physical to play, it takes some chops, right? You gotta do the crossover while getting the accent. But it is not awkward, and I do write these a lot, so for that, it will get a B tier. Oh yes, we're stepping it up a notch with the flaming Swiss cross drag, going across all of the drums. This definitely takes some physicality to get the notes all the way from drum 3 to drum 4, but it is not honestly that bad to play, and it looks pretty stinking cool. So this one will get a C tier. Ah, the old loopy grandma. These are really fun, and I've had to play these a lot. And it sounds pretty cool and funky having the Spock drum being the non-accented note on the downbeat. I am so creative with these names. Like, this rudiment is called a grandma, but you're looping the stick over, so it's a loopy grandma. Whoa! Compose a comment if your grandma is loopy. Hopefully not, but even if she is, this will get a B tier. Oh, phantom grandmas. Hopefully your grandma is not a phantom. But this is actually named after the Phantom Regiment 2007 feature, where they literally played this at the beginning and it was pretty epic. But this is honestly a really specific thing to play, and yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone except for that Phantom drumline do it. So for that, it will get a D tier. So yes, if you have a bunch of double stops in a row on tenors, you're gonna want to cross some of them, okay? Or else it's just lame and not fun. But once again, I feel like this shouldn't be considered a rudiment, alright? It's just like a random technique, and you don't really need to practice it. So this one gets F. This is the most important one on here, and you should practice it for 8 hours every single day. I'm just kidding, this one's incredibly stupid, and I would maybe do this once total in a solo, maybe. Definite F tier. Ah yes, the South Jersey Casey Claw. Named after my hometown in South Jersey, because I was the first person that I've ever seen play this in my 2009 tenor solo. This looks really cool, but it's also not possible to play if you're wearing the drums. Right? It's only going to be able to be done on a stand. And honestly, I don't think this should be considered a rudiment. So for that, it gets D tier. Okay, this one is just absolutely ridiculous and totally unnecessary, and I've literally never done this, and neither has anyone else. I feel like the guy who made this rudiment sheet just put this in here because he can do it. God, what an asshole. Total F tier. This is probably the choppiest thing on this whole list, alright? You have to get really, really good at your floppy flams, and also you have to do sweeps with the floppy flams. It takes some serious skill and training to get these. But if you can, they look really freaking cool, and it sounds pretty cool, and it's kind of mind-blowing. But in terms of how essential this is, I don't know, dude. I'll plop it down here in D tier. I make this look easy, but don't be fooled. These are really, really hard to do. Maximum hand independence here. Though I think the only time I've ever seen a whole drumline play these was that Santa Clara Vanguard 2005 tenor ensemble. Yeah, I've done this in an I&E solo, but I don't think I would ever write this for a drumline because it would probably be really, really bad. And it's one of those things that doesn't really look that impressive, but it's gonna take a lot of time to clean, so for that, you'll get an F tier. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was informative and helpful in some ways. If it was, make sure that you click that subscribe button, ring that Liberty bell, and click that like button. And also consider buying a custom t-shirt such as this one. I will leave that link in the description. And have a good morning.